Sit back and enjoy the debut performance of The Way They Go.
She was young, and she was curious, and things went wrong. A lot of stories begin that way, so why should this one be any different? Part the first, Persephone. My mother called me Corette. My father didn't call me much of anything because he wasn't around to do it. I spent most of my time with my mother, and any time I didn't spend with her, I spent alone. But I wasn't alone, not really. I had the flowers and trees and grass growing all around me, and under my foot I could feel every seed of the earth reaching, growing, living. And I had me. I was alive in life, and everything was so very living and alive around me. And I loved it, but I was not content. I could never be, and I didn't understand why. Maybe that's just the price you pay for living so much in curiosity. Persephone spent her whole life in meadows and fields and gardens. She was curious about what lives beyond them, and as it turned out, not much.
Hello.
Hello.
Is this your field?
My field? I don't think fields really belong to anybody, but if they did, I don't know that this one would be mine. I take it you're new around here?
Me? Oh, yes. Well, not really. It's just been a long time since I've been here.
Well, then, I hope things are as nice as you left them here?
Oh, they are.
I'm glad. I love the way the flowers bloom here. I don't think I've seen any quite this shade of light purple. My mother says each plant is its own shade of being, and each meadow its own collection of shades. She would know, of course, but the more places I go, the more sure I am that she was right. I'm not supposed to be here. I should go.
Already?
I'd really rather not worry her, and I'd rather not be in much more trouble than I have to be. She says I'm reckless.
I don't think reckless people are usually very concerned about worrying other people. It seems to me you're more curious than anything.
I'm overwhelmingly curious, really. There's so many things that I want to know, and so many things that I just don't know, at least not yet. It's hard to find out everything about everything when you're busy tending to plants, but I do know a lot about them, so I suppose it's not really all for nothing.
I have an idea. You know a lot about the world inside of fields and meadows, and I know a lot about the world outside of them. What if I told you what I know, and you told me about what you know? We could teach each other, and then we wouldn't have to be so curious without any means of getting answers.
You don't know how hard it is for me to say no to that.
But what if you didn't say no?
I can't say yes. I can't sneak off every day from my mother's gardens and meet some strange man in a meadow. But I don't want to say no.
What if you didn't say anything? What if we parted was just slightly less than strangers? Strangers with an understanding. And if the opportunity presented itself, you could find this field again, and I could tell you what I know.
I think I can do that. And so I leave you, strangers.
Strangers.
I can't promise that I'll be back, though. And if I do come back, that it will be tomorrow, or maybe a very long time.
That's all right. I'm in the area anyways. I've been spending some days here. It's like you said, all the flowers exist in this shade of purple that doesn't seem to exist anywhere else. I could spend an eternity just looking at them.
They are beautiful, aren't they? But eternity's an awfully long time.
Not if you spend it the right way.
Do you know what the right way is?
I think I'm learning it now. Or at least, I'm on the right track.
Really? What do you think it is, then?
It's less that I think it, and more that I feel it. Deeper down, where I've barely skimmed the surface, but I feel that it's love. Doing something you love, being with someone you love, feeling love. How could an eternity seem long to that?
I've never been in love with anything but the blossoms and the sunset. But I think I could live on the horizon line in perfect happiness for all eternity, if I could only ever get there. But that's a foolish thought for right now, when I ought to be going from the furthest place from the horizon line that I know. I hope Mother hasn't realized I'm gone.
I wish you all the speed I can. Look, we both shared something with each other today.
Yes, stranger.
Goodbye, stranger.
That was the first step down a path that I could not see beneath my feet. I took it tentatively, but then I began to walk, and then I began to run.
Hello.
Hello again. So it was only 4 days. Wasn't too long to wait.
It felt very long to me.
Really?
Yes, here were a million questions swimming around in my head, and here was the perfect way to get answers to them, and I couldn't get to it.
Well, we're both here now. I'll answer anything you ask me.
That's a tall order. Do you think you have all the answers?
No, but I have a good many. And what I don't have for you, I'll get.
That's very kind of you, and the same goes for me about plants.
So, what's your first question?
Oh, I have so many thousands of them in my mind, I don't know where to begin. What is a stone like?
Well, they're firm, like the packed earth. And they're strong, and they weather all sorts of storms like trees do. And they're cold, most of the time. But then sometimes, when the sun's been shining on them in just the right way, they're perfectly warm, and they're the perfect place to just sit and look at things.
I like that very much. Now you, what's your first question?
What is a tree like when it grows?
And so I told him. And then I asked another question, and then he asked another question, and we went on until sunset came on. Sunset. It's perfect again. Sunset. Oh no, I've got to go. Come back again, please, tomorrow or sometime soon, will you?
I will.
Good. I'm glad that I wandered out here and met you, and I'm glad I came back.
I'm glad too. And so we part again.
Friends.
Friends.
So I ran home, and my feet ran down the path that I could not see, but my eyes were up, and I didn't even know that I couldn't see it. And the next day, I was back again. I couldn't stay away from the answers. I hadn't realized before that my hunger was starvation, and now that I had, it was all I could possibly realize.
Hello.
Hello.
You're back.
I am, and I came back every day.
So what's the question about now?
You.
Me?
Yes, you.
All right. What is it?
Why don't you ever come into the meadow? You always stay there, in that spot, on the outside. You never get close to the flowers, and they're the best part.
I already feel so much closer than usual. I guess I don't want to ruin them. Things around me, they tend to die. I don't want to do that to them. To anything.
I don't think that can be true. I've been around you, and I'm still alive, aren't I? Besides, dying is a natural part of living. Maybe it's just their time to make room for the new shoots and return what they took from the earth.
Maybe. Do you want me to enter the meadow?
Yes, I think so. It's glorious here. If I can share anything in return for the things you've told me, it should be this. What it's like to surround yourself with things so thronging and thriving with life and with beauty and with loving of the world.
I'm coming.
See? Isn't it wonderful?
It is. So wonderful. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I'll go. I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry?
I shouldn't have done that without asking you. We're not there yet. It was all in my head. It was wrong.
I don't know that it was wrong entirely. I think maybe we could be there. If not now, then maybe not long from now.
You do?
I do. Sunset.
You have to go.
Yes, but I'll be back tomorrow.
Until then.
And I think I was in love with him, and I was certain I was in love with his answers. And so I went back, again and again and again.
I was thinking, well, I've been thinking, that I've tried my best to answer your questions, but I don't think that's enough. You ought to experience it. You deserve to experience it.
I would love to, but my mother, she started to ask questions that I don't know how to answer without lying to her.
That's all right. I thought it was a long shot anyways.
But I want to go. I could go. We don't have to go very far. You could have me back by sunset, can't you?
Yes, if that's what you want.
Yes. Take me somewhere brilliant. Take me to your favorite place. Is it too far?
No, it's not too far. Take one step forward. There you are. My favorite place.
All right, but I've been here before. I can come back whenever I'd like. Take me to a familiar place for you. One that I don't know yet.
A familiar place?
Yes, please.
All right. But I should warn you, the road is dark.
A dark road I can live through. Take me there. She would never do this on her own.
Demeter, she's growing up. What's the harm in her going off to explore her own for an afternoon?
Everything's the harm in that, Zeus. She's so young, she's never left the fields before. She doesn't know what the world is like. She is gentle. She is kind, and she is obstinate and headstrong and dangerously curious. She could get herself lost or attacked. She could drift out to sea and come ashore in some distant land. She could meet someone like you.
Demeter.
No! We were young and foolish when we had her, but we had her. And then where were you? There were things to be thought about before you took a headstrong, curious young girl who had seen so little of the world with you. There were realizations to have on both our parts that I know well. Those are realizations I have been forced to have while I raised my daughter on my own. She has borne it so well. Never complained that you weren't there, or cried tears she thought I could see. But I have seen them. You see the way she looks at the sky. I have done all I know how to do for her. It's time you do something for your daughter.
You're right. What do you need me to do?
You're the king of the heavens. Part the clouds and find her.
You think someone has taken her?
Yes. Someone must have. She would never do this on her own.
She's never been out of your sight before.
These past few weeks she's been wandering off. She's always staying in the fields where I can sense her footfalls. She thinks I don't notice, and she seems content when she comes back, so I don't push too hard to find out where it is she goes or why it is she leaves, but this time is different. I can't feel her anywhere.
She's not in the fields. She's not on the seas. She's not anywhere I can see from the skies.
Where does that leave?
I think you know.
Oh no!
Sorry that it's such a long way down.
No, it's okay. I've never been in anything really like this before. What do you call this place?
Well, when I got here, it wasn't called much of anything. I started to call it after me, as if it were the same thing, two facets of the same entity. I suppose I am tied to this place. Hades.
Hades.
Sorry, it's not much to look at.
No, it's fascinating.
Fascinating. That's a new one. You know, you have the most spectacular way of seeing things.
Is it just you here? Do you have any family?
My family lives pretty far from here. We don't talk a whole lot. But no, it's not just me here. The others here, they just experience things differently. Even when they're nearby, they feel very far away. Not that they come here most of the time anyways.
Why don't they? I would.
I think they feel a little bit uncomfortable. There's a bit of a status disparity.
What do you mean?
Well, being the king of the underworld, I don't think they really know how to approach things. Things are a little different down here than they are up there.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I get that. Feeling lonely even when people are close by. My mother, being who she is very good at organizing people and getting things done. But then I think other people don't really know how to approach us in a way that isn't asking about crops of wheat or where to help the wildflowers grow more. But we have each other now, don't we?
Yes, we do. You inspired me in that field, and I made something. Would you like to see it?
Yes, I very much would.
All right. Close your eyes, and I'll go get it. Are they closed?
Yes, but I don't know how much longer you have before the not knowing gets to me. It's wonderful. How could I not? I've never seen fruits like these before. They're such a magnificent shade of red, it almost makes me not want to eat them. Only, suddenly I feel famished.
You do?
Yes. It's like it's been there a long time, but I'd somehow never noticed it before. Corey! Hermes. My half-brother. He's my father's messenger. My mother must have realized I was gone further than her meadows.
He'll take you back, won't he?
Yes, and I don't think I'll ever be able to come back. I don't know if I'll ever be able to see you again.
But I can come find you. I can take you away. We can go anywhere that we want to go.
I don't think we can. My father, he's a very powerful man, and he doesn't like it when people disobey him. And if my mother is pressing him to do this, I don't see any way out.
But you can stay here. I'm king of this realm. Your father has no real jurisdiction here. He can't make you say or do anything that you don't want to. Not when you're down here.
I don't know. I haven't thought any of this out. But I know that I don't want to lose you. To lose this. Forever.
I don't want to either.
I don't want to go. Not now. Not yet. I don't want to live my life rooted into a row in the field of wheat. I want to know things. I want to do things. I want to live outside of being another plant in a perfectly manicured garden.
Then stay here. Stay with me. Then they can't make you go back. You can do what you want to do here.
Corey, I've come to take you back.
But I don't want to go back.
So stay here. Please just say you want to stay. Then they can't force you to go back.
I just need time. I wish it would be another 10 minutes at least and give me time to figure out what to do.
He's nearly here. Here. At least take this. Remember, maybe if I ever get to see you again, you could tell me how it tastes.
I'm so hungry. Corey, what have you done? You're here to take me back now, aren't you?
Yes, Persephone, yes I am.
Then take me.
I can't.
Why can't you?
You've eaten from the underworld, Persephone. Once someone does that, they are bound to this place. Forever. It doesn't matter who they are.
Forever.
For all eternity. Down here.
But I don't understand. Why would you give me this?
So that you wouldn't leave me.
I didn't say I was going to.
But now you never have to go back there, where you didn't want to go. You can be however you want. You can be whoever you want down here.
Down here. And I can never leave. For all my existence, I can't leave. Hermes,
Yes, Persephone?
take me back.
I can't do that.
But you can go anywhere, and I'm your favorite sister, aren't I? Please, just take me back. Somewhere, anywhere. Don't let me be stuck.
Persephone, there are rules I cannot break, no matter how much I want to.
Release me.
I can't do that.
But you told me you love me. If you love me, please don't do this to me. Let me go. Don't trap me here. Don't trap me anywhere.
It wasn't my rule to make, and it isn't one that I can break. I would, if I could. I'm sorry.
Why did you do it?
I was desperate. I couldn't bear to lose you. I thought it was the only way.
It wasn't. I'm clever. I've always been clever. I could have thought of something, of some way out of this, and I would have chosen you.
Persephone, I'm so sorry.
And I thank you for that. But it doesn't change things here. Not really. Now does it?
No,
No, it doesn't. Why did you do it?
I love you.
And I love you. But I cannot forgive you.
I'm going to go and tell them what's happened. I'll see if there's anything I can do.
So, they call me Persephone now, the destroyer. Even my mother does. I see her for 6 months of the year, the spring and the summer. The other 6, the end of fall and the beginning of winter, I spend down here in the underworld with my husband. That was the agreement that Hermes worked out. Because if nothing had been worked out, and I had always been stuck down here, then people would have died out, and there would have been no one left to worship my parents or anyone else. Imagine having a mother so deep in despair at your separation that Every plant in the world suddenly dies. It's terrifying. But I suppose it's nice to be so loved. I've never seen the winter, of course, not the way that it is up there, but I felt it. Curious young girl wants answers. Curious young girl gets a taste of them. Curious young girl wants more. Curious young girl steps too far and ruins her life. Curious young girl accidentally creates the seasons. It makes it hard for people to forget my name, at least, so that's nice. But if you want to talk sheer magnitude of problems, there's certainly another girl that comes to mind.
Part the second, Pandora. When they tell my story, they often title it Pandora's Box. I think that's a little unfair, seeing as I'm the main character after all. But when it comes down to it, I suppose it's kind of appropriate. How it was when the story happened, everything was about the box. Every moment I could see it, every moment I couldn't. What was inside, why I couldn't open it, what would happen if I did. It was horrible. And it was wonderful. I was very young at the time, after the whole Prometheus fiasco.
Prometheus. The gods would not take us in front of our divine authority.
But the humans, they were made in your image, but they are mortal. The world is dark and cold and they have so little. What harm could the gift of fire do them?
What harm could it do them? What harm could it do us is a question you should have asked yourself before you stole from the fires of Olympus. It will make them more powerful and more difficult to keep in line. It's only a matter of time before they begin to question our authority.
I believe that the good it will do will far away any harm that might come out of it.
Oh, do you? Well, the first that sets the fire will harm will be you.
Ah! When humans already had their fire, Zeus decided it would be harder to take it away than to send something else to even it out. He gave me a gift. So one day, I'm sitting on my cliffs a little way beyond my house where I like to stand and look out at the sea. And Zeus comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey, Pandora, how are things with you? Fire's been nice, hasn't it? I've really become a fan of those burnt offerings you mortals have started doing. So I guess it all worked out in the end, now didn't it? Anyways, Pandora, I've come to ask you a favor. See, I've got this box, and I need someone to look after it while I'm off, running things up on Olympus. And I see the box, and I say, it's beautiful. I'm honored you trust me with this. I'll guard it with my life." And he says, "Great, there is one thing though." "Yes, anything." "You can't open the box, and I can't tell you what's inside. Or at least, I'm not going to." "All right, I'll guard the box, and I won't ever open it." "Fantastic! I knew you were the mortal for this job, then, Pandora. Catch you later." And then he was gone. And I had this box. It's beautiful, isn't it? Just looking at it, you can tell it's something divine. Not to mention what its contents could be. If the container is this beautiful, the treasures it holds must be extraordinary. There's a reason I've been left in charge of guarding it. He trusts me. The king of gods trusts me. I just have to be careful with it and guard it with my life. The first few days I had it, I didn't go out to my cliffs at all. I stayed at home, alone with this box, and I watched it. And I waited for some kind of attack on it to come. But none did. Then, after the stir craziness of being alone in my house began to set in, I went back out to my cliffs. I watched the sea, played in the surf. The days passed by. But more and more, my mind stayed at home with this box, whatever was inside. And the days passed by, but more and more, my mind stayed at home with this box, and whatever was inside. Curiosity has a vice grip, doesn't it? Once it finds hold, it was strangling me. I couldn't put the box away. I used to always take it out for a few agonizing turns of thought, and I most certainly couldn't put it out of my mind. The world was nothing but me. This box. So what if the world was nothing but me in this box? If I opened it for just a moment and looked inside. If there were going to be repercussions, who would suffer them but me in this box? But then again, of course, boxes don't really have problems and sufferings, seeing as they are very much not alive. But now, looking at this box, it seemed to me very much alive. So much more alive than I was. It was taking my life to live. Why couldn't I have some of it back? It's mine. And I need to know. No one but this box, and I, will ever know what I've done.
So you've opened it.
Yes.
It's alright. He knew what he was giving when he gave this box to you. He wanted you to open and to release all of the spirits inside. Why should he take the blame for a curse in humanity? When he could let your name stay attached to the story for thousands of years. They move quickly, don't they?
Why haven't you gone away too?
Because you need me. Pestilence and envy and hatred, they come to your door and they force their way in. They spend one night on many, but they don't live there. But I do. Hope, alone, stays behind at home. Whatever home lies in your heart, I'm rooted. Quietly. You sometimes can see me very well, but I'm there.
Oh, Elpis.
Yes, Elpis. Expectation. Nothing can ever be all the way in darkness, can it? The sun shines, and your heart feels, and your soul lives song. Hope preserves us alone. Just look for me when you need me. I'll be here.
Curious girl gets a mysterious box. Mysterious box eats away at Curious Girl. Mysterious box was just bait for Curious Girl all along. Curious Girl accidentally unleashes just about every evil thing on humanity. Curious Girl finds herself here.
Thank you, Pandora.
Isn't it far too easy to be accidentally terrible?
And isn't curiosity far too easy to exploit?
Do you like it down here at all?
I never didn't like it. I resented it, but I never disliked it. But this story is not about me. This story is about curious young women, and we are certainly not the only two to have ever existed.
Part the third, Eurydice.
I've always understood a lot of things. This, of course, goes hand in hand with the funny thing of not a lot of people understanding me. This was in many ways fine with me. I'd never known anything very different, and I kept to myself, and the world kept to me. It didn't matter if the world at home didn't understand. The world outside of that, the immortal parts of existence, they understood me. And when I had a question, when curiosity turned me one way or another, the world gave me answers, and I understood them. I never understood music. Orpheus, though, he did, and he understood me.
Hello, Eurydice.
Hello, Orpheus. When they tell this story, they usually begin with the wedding, but that's not where this story starts. I don't even quite know where the prologue begins. I don't remember meeting him. I just remember looking up and seeing the sky and seeing him there too. But I know which page is numbered with the one.
What have you been doing all morning, Eurydice?
Musing. I've escaped their walls and found my hilltop, and you found us both.
It does help when you always run away to the same places.
Yes, but you do always know which one to start from, though.
Yeah, I do.
Where have you been all morning, Orpheus?
Writing a song?
Can I hear it?
Yes.
And his fingers touched the strings of the lyre, and it was like the whole world glowed with being. And then he opened his mouth and he sang, and it was like it somehow glowed even brighter, more wonderfully. When he played, the world was alive. When he played, we were alive.
That's what I have so far. Did you like it?
Did I like it? It was amazing. I didn't understand any of it, but it made me feel
Like what?
like the world was alive, even more so than it ever else could be. and we were alive with it.
You always say that you don't understand. And they say something like that.
So what was this one for?
What one?
The song. What was it for? What was it about?
You really couldn't tell.
I told you I didn't understand.
I don't really know how to put it into words. Out of rhythm, outside of scales, and all proper order of notes.
That's all right. Maybe I wasn't meant to know how music works. If anyone could get me to figure it out, it would be you, and if I still can't after all this time, maybe that means I never will. But that doesn't mean I'm not willing to try. Walk me through it, like I did with you in Finding Your Way with the Stars.
All right, I can try. Well, first there's this. And that part is how the grasses feel when I lie down in them. On this hilltop and look over the everything and the nothing down below. And then there's this. This is the steadiness of the rock I'm sitting on right now. And then there's you. It's for you. It's about you.
You wrote me a song?
I've written you 100 songs. Everything I've ever written, everything I've ever played, and everything I've ever sung. It's been for you.
Everything.
Yes, everything. The truth is the only thing good have in music. Liars, they don't lie, and voices well. When they live in a song, they don't really have much choice but to make the sounds they were made to make. I guess they're all just trying to say that you're the wonder of the sky from a hilltop. And you're the steadiness of the rock in the sunlight. And you're the way the grass is always teeming with life. And I love you.
That's beautiful.
It's for you. It is you.
Do you know, Orpheus, that I was curious about what it felt like to be in love? Well, now I understand. And I did understand, and I do. Another thing to add to the list of things I found out, with this one at the top of it, written in gold and dripping with life. Sometimes curiosity brings you the best things that exist. But then I got curious again. I wondered what it would be like to finally have somewhere to belong.
You ready to sleep? What are you doing right now?
Thinking? What about you?
I was thinking too. Do you know what I was thinking about?
No. Shall I guess?
Yes, retries.
Music.
No.
The way that the sky is so perfectly blue right now and so far away.
No. One more guess.
Let me think. Was it me?
Yes, it was you. It's always you.
What about you were you thinking?
That you're amazing, and that I love you. And it's amazing that you love me too.
You're pretty amazing yourself, Orpheus.
I was thinking all of that. And then I was thinking, what if we get married?
I've been thinking about that too. I would like that very much.
You would.
You seem surprised.
I'm not in some ways, but I am in others. You've always wanted to get out from your house, away from the walls to be free. I wasn't sure if you'd feel trapped if I asked you.
How could I ever feel trapped with you? It isn't not being free, being tied to someone else, when you both choose each other and you both choose to make sure that you're tied well and not will come undone.
Thank you for choosing me.
And thank you for choosing me. So when do you want to do this? Now. Now! I don't think we can do that. But soon, right?
Soon. As soon as we can.
Give me tonight to get things ready and then meet me in the copse of trees down the hill from here.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I'll be there.
Orpheus, wait.
What is it?
What time tomorrow?
Oh, right. I'll be here at dawn if you want me to. I'll be here when it's still dark if you want that.
Dawn. I'll be there.
Dawn.
Dawn. And so he left, and I started off for home.
Wait, Eurydice! Don't I need your father's approval?
You've had it since he met you, Orpheus. But we can go back there to his house now, together if you'd like, and ask him.
I'd like to go anywhere with you.
Then let's go. Of course, being Apollo and being the god of music, my father was a fan. He was never around much during the day, so we'd have to get married without him, but we were never much of a convention anyways. That morning, as dawn spread over the world and my father took to the sky, it was like the sun shone twice as bright and twice as gently. Maybe that's just what it feels like to be in love. Does it even really matter? It was perfect. I walked to our grove in the gold of early morning, the grass full of life beneath my feet, just as it always had been, just as it always would be. And then I felt something hard under my foot. It was strange, unlike anything I had ever felt before. And I looked down, and there was a snake, its teeth sunk into my left foot. And suddenly everything felt very cold, and I was alone. I looked for Orpheus. I called out, my mind in a haze as panic ran its zigzag path through all of my thoughts. And then in a moment, just as fast to come, just as eternal, and then just as fast to go, I saw him. Orpheus. Orpheus! Orpheus, my love! Orpheus, my love! And then suddenly I wasn't there anymore. But he still stood there in my mind, his feet on ground that I couldn't touch, his hands cold and far away where I couldn't reach them. And then I was cold all the way through. And there was nothing but nothingness to surround me.
How's it going?
I know.
It's funny how they think stories end there. They change, and they grow out in different directions. But they still stem from the same place.
And how is your story going today, my love?
As it always has been, I keep growing in unexpected ways. And yours?
I couldn't have said it any better than you did. I'm glad that you've come back.
I always do. But I'm glad, too.
You are?
Yes, very much so. I missed you. And I missed this place. And you needed me. This place. It's always new, no matter how long I spend here. But it does something to you when you stay here too long. Marble columns, cold stones, and shadows. That's not how we were meant to exist. It makes things harder.
It's easier when you're here.
That's very nice of you to say. The right way to spend eternity is with love. You said that to me the first time we met.
I remember. It was the most right I've ever been about anything.
You're part of that love for me. I just wanted to make sure you knew that.
You are just about all of that love for me. Thank you for that.
Hades,
Persephone?
what is that sound?
What sound?
I think I'm hearing it with the part of me that's still up there. But it's beautiful. And it's terrible.
Persephone? Persephone, I think. Oh.
I have come here for Eurydice, my wife.
What is your name?
Orpheus.
And how did you get down here, Orpheus? You aren't due here for many years.
I've come here for my wife Eurydice. A snake bit her the morning of our wedding. The venom had already run its course before I even got to her body.
Young man, I'm the god of the dead. It's my job to know these things. What I don't know is how you, a very much alive young person, made it down to this kingdom.
I don't feel very alive. I haven't in days. She died and I caught her body as it fell. I stayed there, on the ground, I couldn't get up. So I sang. Everything I ever written for her and everything I had, it was all I could do. So I played my lyre. My fingers bled onto the grass, and the grass began to weep along with them. With the trees and the rivers and streams and clouds up above. The hill wept next to me. And then the rocks began. They told me to come down here. They told me I could come find her here. Where is she?
My fields, tending to the asphodel and the weeping. That's all she's been able to do for the day she's been here.
Thank you. I have to find her.
My wife's fields are not for the living. We can bring your wife here. You can see her, and you can speak to her. Then you'll have to be on your way.
Eurydice.
Orpheus!
Eurydice!
How did you get here? How did you find me? Are you dead?
No, I'm not dead. I sang my songs, your favorite ones. And the earth opened up and showed me the way back to you. I've come to take you home.
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 But I'm with you. I am home.
Eurydice, I can't believe I found you. I thought you were gone forever.
We're both here now. Together. Home. But you can't stay here.
But the stones, when they let me come down here, when they show me the way to you, they said if I sang my songs, the ones that made them weep, Hades would have to let you go back with me. Or the earth would turn us both up to the world of the living if you wouldn't. We'll go back there either way, together, you and me.
Together, you and me. That's how it was supposed to be, forever. But look at us, look at this. We were split up before we could even be married.
But we're together now. Eurydice, will you?
Yes.
Here. I have this. Eurydice, I have loved you since the moment I met you. And I never lived before I did. You are the line that creates harmonies in a cacophony. You tune every string and correct every dissonant note. You have mountains more of sense and brilliance to go around. You are a symphony written for the world to sing and to play. You have the greatest, most intricate melody ever composed, and I spend my whole life trying to do it justice, to play a music alike to your own, and I intend to spend the rest of my existence doing the same thing. If you let me, if you can bear to listen to it to play for that long, I hope you can hear your music too, even in phrases and halves and measures, because it is the most beautiful thing that has ever existed, and that I think ever will exist.
Orpheus, I've spent my whole life in understanding it and finding it. I never thought I understood music. But you've made me understand. Slowly and all at once, it all makes sense. And with you, I feel things that a world of sense had never let me feel. I understand music. And you understand me. I think that that's one of the things I'd always been looking for, and you were giving it to me all along. Orpheus, you love unselfishly, and you put artistry into everything you do, every moment that you exist, and you make the world resonate in a way that it couldn't possibly without you. You make my world make sense when nothing seems to. You help me to understand the things I don't, and you understand me when I feel like I'm the greatest puzzle the sun has ever shown on. And I love you, and I have always loved you, and I always will love you. If I understand nothing else now, I will never understand anything else again. It is that I love you with all that I am, and that I want to stay with you forever.
Eurydice, I'm yours.
And Orpheus, I am yours. Isn't this how it's always been, and then nothing like it all at once?
That's it exactly. Now we have a whole new part of our lives ahead of us to live.
Not exactly.
The stones said that we can go. They said if I sang my songs for you, and I came down here and I found Eurydice, you would have to let her go back with me. Or they would overturn this part of Hades and let us out anyway.
But the stones don't make the rules here. They have to enforce them the way that I do.
You're the king here, you make the rules, you can make a rule to let us go back.
I don't make these kinds of rules.
Then who does?
Existence. The very fabric of what we are, of everything. These rules are older than me. They will go on being long after I am gone.
Then let me stay here.
But you aren't dead, young man. I have no say in when the fates will choose to cut your string. I will only know when it has been done.
It seems that our Olympian relations have heard about this visit to our kingdom.
What do they wish to do to them?
They wish for them to be punished. They say that no mortals are meant to come down here. Not like this. That Orpheus has disrupted the natural order of things. That no one up there can know he saw down here today.
You should not have come here.
I just wanted her back. They promised me I could have her back.
Promises are tricky things. They should not have made one they did not know they would keep. I am sorry this has happened to you. There are some things I cannot change. I think it is more than punishment enough for the two of you to be separated by the veil of land once again. Take him back, please, Hermes.
There's one other thing. The stones up there, they're weeping. Every surface of rock near Thrace is pouring out salt water. Like some sort of spring has opened up in all of them all at once. Poseidon can't explain it, but they thought that you, being so connected to the stones down here and all, that you might know what's going on.
Hades, he was telling you the truth when he said the world was weeping for them both. I can feel it too.
It isn't something I can mend. Tell them that, Hermes.
Hades, you can't mend it, but they can.
So what do you want me to do?
I want you both to wait and let the boy play a song. That's what the rocks told him to do. If he does that, and there's nothing to be changed, and nothing to be done, then you can send him back, and they'll have to stop. You'll have heard their plea if you hear his.
You're right, of course. Well, listen. Whenever you're ready.
All right.
This was to be played the day of our wedding. I wrote it the night before. It came to me like a dream. It's what broke through to the rocks. For Eurydice, number 473.
Have you ever seen the first flower that blooms red in the spring? All the way an apple blossom falls like the wind under her wings. Have you ever heard the rivers rush and tumble over stones? Or the way that the wind laughs through trees and calls you forth to roam? Have you ever seen the way the sunlight dances through her hair? Oh, she, the moon, the stars, all glimmer so. Your heart's beyond repair. Have you ever felt the first blossom at the breaking of the day? Or any sort of feeling that sets you on your way? I have seen a face in starlight, moonshine and the sun. I have held her hand and danced through the rain, and after her I run. She has set me on my way and said she'd like to share it. When the words fall out from underneath before her, smile, I'll bear it. Eurydice,
You are doubly gifted, son. To have music like that, and love like what you have, I wish there was something I could do.
You won't let us go.
I told you before, I cannot break the rules, no matter how much I want to.
Hades, you have done foolish and impetuous things for love before. You can find a way, look for one.
Persephone, you can go back, and you can take her with you, but you cannot look at her behind you as she follows you out.
I can't look at her.
No, this is your test. If you want to take her out of you and keep her at your side, and she cannot be at your side right now. Hermes,
Haven't we had tests enough already?
Yes and no. The rules of the underworld are deeply rooted in stone. They hold fast, as they always have done. It is hard enough to bend them, let alone break them. If you want to leave this place, to get back up there,
You will need to prove yourselves capable of it.
So I hold her hand, and I look ahead, and I lead her out, and when I reach the sunlight with her, I can look at her again, and we can go on living again.
Not quite. You lead her out, you do not look at her, and you do not hold her hand. There is your connection. Trust it.
But how do I know you're not tricking me? It could be Hermes or some other spirit of the underworld holding the other end of it and not her. And I won't know until I reach the sunlight and can't get back.
You can't know. You just have to trust.
I trust you, Orpheus. I'll be right there, right behind you every step of the way. And then I'll be at your side once more.
Together.
Together. Can I talk to him as we go?
You can, but he may not be able to hear you.
It's all right, Eurydice. I can hear you in everything anyways. I can do this. We can do this to get us out of here.
And then we'll live in sunlight and the glow of the moon and stars again. And I'll wear shoes and I'll watch where I step. And we'll stay together.
Eurydice, I love you.
And I love you, Orpheus.
Are you ready? All right. You may go.
Good luck.
You'd think that going up, getting back there, would be so much less frightening than coming down here to the underworld was. But I wasn't scared then. I could only think of you, and if you weren't with me, it didn't matter what happened to me. But now everything matters so much. I have to get you out of here. But I'm so frightened by everything. I'm so frightened that you aren't there. I'm so frightened that we'll never have it together again.
I'm right here. I don't know if you can hear the words I'm saying, Orpheus, coming from me, but if the stones are still a part of our story, I hope they'll at least send echoes of them to you. I love you, Orpheus. You've known me for years. You've always known me. And you know how I feel about walls. But if they'd sent us all for a test to be walled up forever, for all of eternity, if I could have been walled up with you, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Because then there wouldn't be any walls. There wouldn't be any that matter. The way you love me, the way you make me feel, that's a boundless thing. There aren't any walls there. There's grass and there's a sky and there are rolling hills beneath us, and it's you and me, hand in hand, running into that forever. Together.
Eurydice.
Orpheus, you and I.
Eurydice, it's like I can hear your voice. For a moment, a fleeting instant at a time. But then I start to worry that it's all just a trick, and suddenly I can't anymore. I've never lacked faith before. Why now, when I need it most, for the both of us? Eurydice, if you're there, if you can hear me, please let me believe that you're there. I've always trusted you. I don't think it's in my nature not to. Tell me once and let me hear it, please. And I'll trust that you're there because you said it.
I'm right here, Orpheus. I'll always be with you.
It's just so hard. I've always heard you in everything. In the wind and in the water and in the growing of the trees. To be alive is to hear you. But now I don't know if I'm alive anymore, or if I'm dead. And I can't tell if I can hear you now.
Orpheus.
There it was again. I thought I heard you say my name, but you sounded so far away. I never needed to see you before. I mean, I've always liked looking at you, because who wouldn't? But I never needed to see you before to know you were there. I've always just felt you. I've always just known you. But now, it seems that everything's coming back to me in empty echoes. What have they done to you, Eurydice? What are they doing to you now? Are you being tortured in some pit in Tartarus because I came down here when I shouldn't have? Is it all my fault? It is all my fault. I should have waited for you at the foot of the hill. I should have stayed up there until you came. But I wanted to feel our place one more time and know that what was ahead was better than anything that could have possibly come before. I should have been bitten by the snake. I should have been the one to die. You've always been so sensible, so logical, so clear in your decisions. You could have gone on living for the both of us. And I could have watched you down below and waited for you to find your time to come down and join me again. I've been happy for you living and changing the world and making the harmonies complete, all the while I waited. But I wasn't strong enough. I couldn't live without you. Life died with you.
Orpheus,
Eurydice, I can see the sunlight again, the waves lit with gold. If I can just get to it, if I can just get us both to it. But what if I go through it, and I turn around, and you're not there, and you haven't been there, not since I turned around away from you for the first time, What if I go through it, through that doorway, into living again, and I'm alone, and you're down there and you're alone, and I can never get back to you? What if I ruin everything and I walk through it? What if I leave you behind? Eurydice, I'm sorry. You told me to trust you, and I do. But I don't trust anyone else. I have to know. I can't leave you behind. I'm turning around.
Orpheus?
Oh no.
Orpheus?
No, come back with me, Eurydice. I didn't mean to. I don't know why I did it. I've always trusted you. You've always been there for all my life.
Orpheus? Orpheus, I can't stop. Orpheus is pulling me back. Orpheus, it's so cold.
No, come back with me, Eurydice. The sunlight's right out there. We can run, we can make it, and we'll be warm forever, for everything that matters.
Orpheus, I love you.
Eurydice, my love. Eurydice, my life.
Orpheus.
Eurydice.
Live.
It's time to go. It's not your fault. The laws of the underworld are hard to cheat. Just ask Demeter. You'll see her again.
I almost wish now that you hadn't let us try.
But you don't quite all the way.
No, I don't quite all the way.
I'm sorry that it had to end the way it did.
It was always meant to end that way, wasn't it?
Yes, Eurydice. I think it was. But I'd like to grant you something. A gift. It won't make any of this go away, but something that can soften it, even a little bit.
Don't let me forget. Don't let me forget him or living or any of it. In the fields of Asphodel, I could feel it slipping away, and it was all I could do to hold on, and I don't know how long I can do that for when it's all pulling away so strongly.
Then you won't forget. You'll remember. No matter how long you spend here, no matter how long you wait, you'll know why, beyond the shadows beneath the surface of the water, that you can never make out when you look at them hard.
But there's more. Let him forget. Let him forget this, let him forget me. Please.
That I cannot do. Our realm here is the realm of the dead. Our jurisdiction ends at the first stone the sunlight hits.
I just don't want it to hurt him.
But he wants it to. He wants it to do everything to him. None of us can change that.
It's all right. I suppose he has just as much of a right to remember it if he wants to as I do, even when it hurts. And it hurts. So much. Of course, for me, the only lives of curiosity were his and my own, but it left them nothing. It gave us everything to begin with, but it takes and it takes and it takes. And then it leaves only ruination.
Why was your story sadder than mine when I literally opened the box that released all the evils into the world?
I don't know. Not everyone gets a mysterious box from Zeus to open, but everybody loves. Maybe it's just the universality of loss.
It's a terrible, beautiful thing to love something so strongly when it's so fragile. It doesn't happen every day, but then it does. The scale of the next story is similar, but curiosity, no matter how it comes and no matter how it ends, is a powerful thing.
Part the fourth, Europa. So here I am, on a beach, on the coastline of Phoenicia. And the day is beautiful in just about every way. The sky and the sea are two entirely different blues. And yet they play against each other and with each other perfectly. It's mid-morning and the washing has been done for hours. And it's just me and my attendants and the sea. And a cow. Now, I have not seen a great many live cows in my life, being that I live in a palace, and the only place I go to is this beach, which is usually a cowless place. So naturally, I'm a little bit curious. So I start walking over to the cow to inspect it and find out where it's coming from. And my attendants, my friends are all telling me I should stay away from the cow. We don't know what it'll do, but curiosity is telling me to go over and touch the cow and find out why it's here. And I listen to curiosity. aren't you? There we go. And what a lovely cow you are. Why don't you come with me? We'll go up to the palace and show you to my father. He'll know what to do. He's the king of this place, and he's very wise. Then we'll find out who owns you and return you to them. And then suddenly, in the breath of an instant, I wasn't on the beach anymore. My feet were firmly planted in the sand and washed over by the surf. Suddenly, the wind was whipping past me, hard and fast through my hair, and I was on the cow's back as he ran through the sea, rising up to meet his every footfall. And then, after what felt like forever, I was sliding from his back, and my feet were on sand again. But it was different sand. It shifted under my feet in a way that the sand back at home never did. And then, standing beside me, there was no cow anymore. There was a young man there where the cow had been, and he was looking at me.
Hello.
Hi.
I think you might be the most beautiful mortal woman I have ever seen.
Weren't you just a cow?
Yes, not a cow. Very good looking and very beautiful.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Zeus.
No, none of that is necessary. I feel like I've known you for a long time, Nova. I've been watching you on the seashore for many days now.
You've been watching me?
Yes, Nova. You might find it hard to believe, but there isn't always a lot to do when you spend your whole life with one of the deathless gods. Mortality leaves you a lot of free time.
But aren't you busy being king? Haven't you got lives to oversee and quarrels to arbitrate?
Well, yeah, but mostly I try to let the other gods figure things out for themselves. They only call me in when the drama gets pretty far out of hand. Pantheism is a blessing and a curse, isn't it? Everything's covered by somebody and no one gets too overwhelmed by having too much stuff to be the patron god of. But then everybody has a lot of free time to create problems with one another.
Every coin has two sides.
Exactly. I mean, I think I've chosen a much more generally beneficial pastime than most of my family.
Watching teenage girls play on a beach?
Well, when you put it that way.
But why me? Why have you brought me here? Do you need me to complete some task for you? Go on a quest? Make some sacrifice on behalf of my people?
No, Europa. Nothing like that. I want you to love me.
To love you? But I already do. I make sacrifices to you every day at home among all of my family and all of my people.
That's not exactly what I meant. Europa, you are kind and you are beautiful and you have such an amazing love for the world around you. Could you love me? Not as a god, but as what I look like now.
Is this why you came to me in the shape of a cow and brought me here?
Yes, Europa. I love you. I didn't know how else to tell you.
But why didn't you come to me like this then? And tell me and go before my father for his permission?
Your father's permission? Europa, darling, I'm a god. The permission I need is yours. Do I have it?
This is all very sudden.
Of course you could say no if I don't. I'll take you to your father and your home and we'll never see each other again.
Never?
Never, if that's what you choose.
And so it went on. For a long time. Now, it wasn't my fault or curiosity's fault that I was being emotionally manipulated by a man centuries older than myself. His was control of the current, pushing always in this direction. And I had gotten swept up in it, unable to swim against it or make my way out. His was the baited hook that the current was pushing towards. But curiosity, that was mine. And curiosity's was the impulse to swim towards the bait that thinly veiled his hook.
Do you love me now, Europa? Or will I have to go on loving you from afar? Never able to touch you or speak to you again?
You love me? Truly?
Truly.
To be loved by a god, and not just any god, but the king of the gods. I couldn't seem to stop myself. Then I love you.
Come with me.
I will. And so I went. And things were nice. When I had been at home, I never wanted to be anywhere else. Phoenicia was the most beautiful place in the world. It must still be. I don't know, though, of course. was here now, though, on a shore far away from my own shore. And things were nice. They weren't the same, but I liked to see what it was like to be in the difference. That wore off. And then he left. Of course, I've never been back to Phoenicia. The rest is what I've heard from messengers and from scouting reports. But I feel it's true, somewhere in my heart. I know my father. I've known him all along.
It's been 2 weeks now. Can only assume the worst has happened to your sister. If Zeus had determined to give her back to us, well, I think he would have done it by now. Still.
Father,
Yes, my son?
we've spoken about this already, the three of us. And we would like to go in search for her. With your permission, of course.
Oh, Catamus.
And Cilix, you're in agreement?
Yes, Father.
And you, Phoenix?
Yes, Father. We have to find her. At least we have to try.
You truly are the best of children. I'm not a young man now, but...
Father, our country needs you. Our people need you. Let us find our sister.
I don't know that I can lose any more of you.
We'll be back, Father.
And we'll bring her with us.
Then go, my sons, and the blessing of an old king goes with you.
We'll all see each other again, one way or another.
None of them ever made it home either. Each one got lost or shipwrecked somewhere along the way. Cadmus made it to the mainland, slaying quite a few monsters on his way, before settling down and founding the city of Thebes. Cilix made his way to Asia Minor and established the nation of Cilicia. And he had quite the famous son along the way, Theseus, king of Thasos, hero of the ancient world and slayer of villainous monsters. Phoenix, the youngest of my brothers, the closest to me in age and the closest to me in personhood, made it the closest to me. But he didn't find me either. His fate was to wander the earth looking for me for many years. His was the heart of Phoenicia, in so many ways. And I know almost nothing about what happened to him. He went so far away. But I know, from scattered reports and my own knowledge of my brother and best friend, that there's another nation out there, named Phoenicia, for him, and that he has ruled it well. My father died alone. My mother had died long before I was taken away. Loss was nothing new to him, but it didn't make it any easier. This part, I know because I have felt it too. What happened to me? Well, when he left me behind, I was pregnant with twins. I had nothing to do but walk and keep on living. So that's what I did. I found a city, and I found a palace, and I found a young king. He knew who I was, and he knew what had happened to me, because I told him right out the first time that we met. We were married, and he knew that the boys weren't his, but he didn't love them any less. And he didn't love me any less for what had happened to me. He was a good man. Asterion. I loved him very much. I still do. I only wish it hadn't cost me so much to meet him in the end. I would have liked to meet him along the way. I would have liked a different story.
Wouldn't we all? I certainly would. I wouldn't mind. But then where would we be? Different stories, different selves, different people to be. We're shaped by the lives we live, and we shape our lives even if our fate is decided for us in the end. These things are ours. We're all that makes them terrible and all that makes them beautiful.
You're all that makes us terrible and all that makes us beautiful.
It is, isn't it? And look, I guess I did get an entire continent named after me in the process.
Does it soften the blows at all?
Oh, not a bit. It just shines a different light on me.
That's an interesting way of putting it, but I guess you're right. That's what my shines a small but different light on things, a dazzling diamond-cast one.
It is still all a little too worldly. Things start out so brightly for us. There's light all around, or it's at least the only thing that you can see. And then you're left in the dark. You find yourself here.
But this is not where we end the night. We have one more story for this evening. Another curious young girl who makes mistakes and has bad things happen to her. Another curious young girl who struggles. Another story of us all.
Part the 5th, Psyche. I was very young when it happened. I suppose I could have been younger, but I'd always felt so young above all else. I guess that's just what happens when you have 2 older sisters. I wouldn't know since I haven't lived any other way, but I was young. Of that, I am certain. Of that, I was certain. I was certain of very little else. Oh, hello.
You aren't supposed to see me.
Oh, sorry. I'll just be on my way then and stay outdoors.
Oh, do anything but that.
I'm sorry.
You're beautiful.
Thank you.
Has anyone ever told you that?
Oh yes, it seems like everyone tells me that every day. They have started worshiping in temples of Aphrodite, and it's rather uncomfortable.
You're...
Psyche, yeah. Third-born princess of this country. Praised by all men, hence sought by none.
Is that really true?
Oh yes, my sisters make me painfully aware of that.
Well, I don't know if it changes anything, but I would seek your hand, if I could. But you're a princess, and I'm just some nobody, light on the air.
Oh, but everybody's somebody. And yes, it does change things a little bit. It's nice to know that somebody would.
In a heartbeat. Well, I better be on my way.
And I better be on mine. My father's going to the Oracle of Delphi to ask the god Apollo of prophecy what will happen to me.
Oh, well, good luck to you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Good luck? Really? You're the cut of passionate love arrows, and that's the smoothest line you can come up with?
I didn't know who he was, but it didn't matter much to me. He was alive and he made me smile. If only for a moment, and then for a long moment, and then for a few moments, and then I joined my father at the Oracle.
Oh, great Oracle, dear blessed by the mighty Apollo, please grant my supplication.
What is he doing?
You play the oracle in this section.
I do.
Yes.
Do I have to?
Yes. It was either that or one of the sisters, so
Fine, I'll do it. You wish to know about your daughter?
Yes, great Oracle, my youngest daughter, Psyche, most beautiful of mortals. Her sisters are betrothed to kings, but I don't know what to do with her.
What to do with her? You do nothing, old king, and so her fate awaits her. She must be brought to the steepest cliffs of your nation, blindfolded and dressed in mourning clothes for her own funeral. A monster most feared by men will come to her there and take her off to be married to him.
That is her fate?
Do you doubt me, old man? Do you doubt the great god Apollo?
No, I would never.
Good. Now go home and do as I have told you.
And so he told me what the Oracle had said. He didn't fight it. He didn't tell me any of the gnawing doubts in his heart. The Oracle had spoken, and so Apollo had spoken, and so my fate was sealed. I wasn't bitter and I wasn't angry, but I was afraid. He looked into my eyes once, and we were at the top of the highest cliffs of the coast, and I could see him. He was afraid too. He looked so much like how I felt, but neither of us could change any of this, so I nodded once, and he nodded twice, a little bit shakily, and slipped the blindfold over my head. And he left, and I was alone, and I waited.
Psyche?
Yes? Are you here to take me away?
Yes, if you'll go.
I will.
May I ask why you're dressed in funeral clothes?
My father consulted the Oracle of Delphi about my future. She said he would come to the cliffs to find me and I should be blindfolded and dressed in funeral clothes.
Well, they certainly made you hard to miss. You know, some people say that marriage is the death of the younger self.
Oh, I don't believe that. I think it's more of a changing in addition to what's already there. You don't lose parts of yourself by adding, at least not with this.
That's very wise. I like your way of looking at it.
It seems a little bit heartbreaking any other way. Of course, I've never been married, so I really wouldn't know.
Would you like to be?
She said that's why you were taking me away.
But would you like to be?
I don't know. No one's ever really asked or offered. Well, one did, but I don't know you very well, so I really don't know.
What did the Oracle of Delphi tell you about it?
She told my father I would be taken away by a monster feared by all of mankind and that he would marry me.
Well, monster seems a little much, but feared by all mankind. Yes, many do fear what I do.
What do you do?
I make people feel things they can't control and do things they might not otherwise do. And sometimes that can cause them a lot of pain.
Why?
Because it's my job. It's the purpose I was made to serve. But now those things happen to me.
What's that like?
It's just as terrible and wonderful as it is for everyone else. I assume you're wearing something underneath the funeral robes. Would you like me to take them off you?
Oh yes, please. I feel like I can't move like this.
Is that any better?
Much. Can you take the blindfold off too?
I wish I could, but I can't. You aren't allowed to see me or bad things will happen to the both of us.
It seems like I may have been a bad choice for a wife.
You were the only choice.
Oh.
No, not like that. I just meant I saw you and I knew you and I couldn't marry anyone else.
Oh. Well, can I at least know your name?
You can't know that either. I'm sorry.
That's all right. What can I know?
You can know the answer to just about any other question you ask me. You can know that I've lived a very long time and that I've never met anyone like you before. You can know that no harm will come to you here and I won't make you do anything that you don't want to do. And you can know me by feeling, if not by sight.
I know something now at least.
I know it's not much.
But it's something to start.
A start.
Your laugh is lovely.
Thank you. Your smile is beyond lovely.
I wasn't expecting a monster who laughed or who called my smile lovely and made my chest feel full inside. We didn't marry that night or for many nights. We spoke a great deal. Between my hands and his words, I felt like I could see him despite the darkness in the backs of my eyelids. And after a while, we were married, and he did have a name to me. My husband.
Yes, my wife?
Must you go?
Yes, I must. I stayed longer than I probably should have already. But I'll be back again tonight. I promise. And while I'm gone, you'll get a break from that silly blindfold, and you'll get to leave this house and see your family again.
Really?
Really. They're not too far off. And then, at nightfall, you can go back to the cliffs where we first met, with the blindfold on, and you won't have to walk here all alone, if you don't want to.
What should I tell them if they ask about you?
Whatever you like. We have to keep the blindfold and the name, but we don't have any of the secrets, unless there are things you would like to tell them.
All right. Sunset. I'll see you then. Or not see you exactly. You know what I mean.
Yes, I do. Sunset. I'll see you then.
And so I went home. My feet knew the path and the air was cool and sure on my face. My mother screamed when she saw me and ran to me. My father wept and followed her. They asked me what had happened, how I was with them alive and their daughter in one piece. I answered their questions as well as I could, told them what had happened, and they sent for a feast to be prepared for me. And then I saw my sisters again. I think it was the first time they'd ever been glad to see me. We all ate together, drank together, spoke and laughed and cried together, and the night began to fall upon us. I told them goodbye and that I hoped to see them again soon, and I went back to the cliffs with my blindfold on to wait for my husband. I waited half a breath, and there he was, touching my hand, leading me home and speaking soft words to me. A few days later, I went home to my parents' house again, and again, and again. It was nice. We all knew we were fit now, and I had the sun to shine, the waves to crash, and a family to spend time with during the day, and a husband to speak to and be with during my nights. And then my sisters began to say things to me.
I'd like to meet your husband, Psyche. I guess you'd probably like that too.
But I have met him, and I do know him. Maybe one day he can come here with me, and you can all speak to him. I think you'd all like him.
I'm sure we would.
But do you really know him? You've never seen him.
You don't need to see someone to know them.
That may be true, but what do you really know of him? What's his name?
I've already told you he can't tell me.
A name can tell you a lot about a person. My husband's name means he of noble birth.
And mine means son of the raging sea.
And your husband?
He doesn't have a name.
At least not one for you. Wouldn't want my husband to keep such things from me.
He doesn't want to. He has to. Bad things could happen to both of us if he did tell me.
And your name? Psyche? It means soul.
We're your older sister, Psyche. We're just looking out for you. And don't you ever wonder who he really is?
I know who he is. I know who he is in all the ways that really matter.
But the oracle told you he was a monster. Doesn't that frighten you?
No.
I'm just saying, if it were me, I'd like to know what kind.
I think I should go now.
Goodbye then, Psyche. We're just looking out for you.
I cried as I walked back to the cliffs that day. I was early. The sun was still an hour from the horizon line, so I had some time to school myself back to a look of normalcy. For the first time, I was grateful for the blindfold.
And how is today, my love?
Good. That was the first time I ever lied to him.
My day was surprisingly tiring. I'm not sure how long I'll be able to stay awake. What would you like for dinner tonight? Goat?
Yes, that would be good.
Shall I break out the new jar of wine? The one from your parents?
Yes, that sounds good.
Are you feeling all right, my love?
Oh, me? I'm fine, just tired is all. I'll have to turn in right after dinner, same as you.
All right. The goat and the wine, and then we'll go to sleep.
And so we ate the dinner he prepared. I tried to put them out of my mind and to only think of him, and for a long time that worked. But then he went to sleep. And I tried to sleep. I tried so hard to sleep. But their faces kept coming to my mind and their words kept echoing through my brain, even as I held his hand and prayed to hypnosis with all my might. Nothing worked. You know, some part of me knew that it wouldn't, that this had to happen tonight or some other night, and someone was bound to say these things to me today or some other day. But the worst part of it all was that all these things they said to me, I had already thought. I just wanted to say them for myself, hoping they would go away and I could be happy in the life that was set out for me. But curiosity in their words, some things were just too strong. Stronger than prophecies from oracles and gods, and stronger than the rules or our fear of them. So, I got up in the night. I reached out for a candle. And I lit it. And I walked back to the bed. Our bed. And I took the blindfold off to look at the monster. My monster. And he wasn't a monster at all. He was the boy I met on the cliffs all along, and he was wonderful. And I was so busy noticing all that I couldn't before that I didn't notice the hot wax dripping off of my candle and onto him.
My wife?
My husband.
Oh, Psyche, what have you done?
I'm sorry, I had to know.
I know. It was foolish of me to think we could go on like this forever. So, now you see me.
Now I've seen you.
Am I what you expected?
I don't know what I expected, but you make sense.
Do we still make sense to you?
Yes. What will happen to us?
It won't be long until I know in Olympus what has happened. I wasn't supposed to marry anyone, and I certainly wasn't supposed to marry you. But I thought that I could keep you safe, and I thought that we could be happy. Were you ever happy here with me?
I was. I was the happiest I've been my whole life.
I felt the same. I'm glad we've been together again. We don't live long now. I suppose you should know my name. What will happen now will happen regardless of that.
I'd like to know if you'll tell me.
It's Eros. My mother named me aptly as the god of passionate love. I've always done her work unquestioningly, but then one day she sent me to strike down a young girl who had taken one of her temples and been worshipped in her place, to make her fall in love with some beast, animal or man, who would hurt her as soon as he had her in his clutches.
She sent you to kill me.
Yes, Psyche, but Then I saw you on the cliffs that day, and you could actually see me, as no mortal is meant to do. I went back to my mother that day, Aphrodite, and told her I died. I was hoping the beast you'd fall in love with would be me. I spent centuries shooting at arrows of love into heart of her heart, not caring who was hit or what happened with me next. But I'd never felt any of that kind of love myself. Not until I met you. And I couldn't aim for your heart, Psyche. If I'd reached into my quiver, I would have found it empty. But I couldn't even do that. I just had to stand there like some mortal man, hoping you'd love me in return. And you did.
And I do.
And you did.
So, if I saw you and if I knew your name, they would know you had done your mother and the other gods?
Yes. I don't know how they'll punish us now.
They know what you've done now, Eros, and they aren't happy.
I brought her here to marry me. It is my fault, not hers.
Yes, but she looked at the blindfold. And your mother, well, she had it out for her anyway.
But Psyche didn't know what she was doing. It is my fault, not hers. If there is an issue to be taken, it is with me.
Eros,
Yes, Psyche?
it was my decision to marry you, and I took the blindfold off myself. Whatever the consequences are, they are mine to bear with you.
I can't blame you for falling in love with her, but they do.
What is the punishment?
Yours, you'll have to receive from your mother, but hers, they sent me to tell you both.
What is it?
It comes in 4 parts. Part 1, she has poured out the jars containing your seeds. Oops. And you must sort the pile, accounting for each and every seed without your husband's help.
That doesn't sound too difficult.
Oh, but you haven't seen the pile. For the goddess of beauty, Aphrodite sure can make a mess.
Well, this is where we part ways. She has designed these tasks for you to fail. I know that. But I'll find you again, as I found you before. And we'll be together again. We have to be.
Until then, I'll sort the seeds. Goodbye, my Eros.
Goodbye, my Psyche.
And I was alone.
Curious young girl lets curiosity take the rudder. Curiosity gets her an answer. There's a moment of satisfaction, but then everything goes wrong.
Hermes led me to a pile of seeds 3 times my height, a mountain more than anything, and told me it was time to begin. Then he said,
I'll be back when your time is up.
And he turned to go.
But then everything doesn't turn out to be everything.
And I set to work.
And she works. And she tries so hard, and she hopes.
When he was a few paces away, he turned around, and he walked back to me. I was so engrossed in the work of the seas, I almost didn't see him. But then he spoke again, and he said,
I can't help you with this one myself. But, well, I don't think this is right. I can bring you some help from some friends. As long as you work, they'll work alongside you. And then maybe you'll finish it.
And his friends were 2,000 ants. He spoke to them, and then they turned to me and they spoke to me. And then they set to work as I worked, separating ash from cypress, olive from oak, and hyacinth from daffodil. They hummed as they worked and told me stories, and I wasn't alone anymore. By the time Hermes came back, we were long finished. I told them thank you and goodbye, and he led me to my second task. Part 2, collect the golden wool of a sheep gone mad with being chased.
I can't help you with this one, even indirectly. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'll manage. I'm already further along than I started.
This one has no time limit. She expects you'll die out before any of the time has passed anyways. Good luck.
Thank you. And so there I stood in the clearing of a wild wood, amidst a circle of trees, and beneath a rushing stream. When the sheep came, everything was noise and movement. I ran after it, but I stopped. I would have to be strategic about this one. So I took off my sandals and I crouched down behind a rock, and I waited. The next time a sheep came by that day, I ran after it, and I jumped out, and I reached down. Nothing. My hand closed, empty, and made a fist of nothing but me. But I tried again, surely, this time knowing how quick my reflexes would have to be, knowing the turbidity of the sheep's run through the clearing, tracing its path again and again through my mind. I could get it this time.
Yeah, that's
So, other people have come here for the wool of the sheep?
Other people? Yeah, by the dozen and the score. That's the thing about people. They never appreciate a good river until they need it, when thirst and death hang over them hand in hand. But they see the way that golden pelt glitters and bam! They're off faster than my waters could ever run. But never quite fast enough. When you need water, you think the only bottomless things are your thirst and the pits of Tartarus. But they aren't. Their oft-forgotten brother is greed, and to drop down there is the hardest fall of all.
But I don't want the wool for myself.
That's what they all say.
But it's true.
It rarely is. Actually, it never has been yet.
I've been commanded to collect the wool by Aphrodite. She's punishing my husband and I. And I told him my story. And at the end, he said,
"That's a good story, but it still sounds like you want the wool for you. You want it to get back to him. You want what the wool can bring you, same as everybody else. You just want it to bring you something a little different from the rest of them."
I guess you're right. I do want it for myself. I just want to see him again, and to know that he's all right, and for him to know that I'm all right too. And I want him to stop being punished for what is my fault.
You know, the usual response to that is more along the lines of, "Yeah, right," and to shuffle off in a huff. But you didn't do that. And I'm very tired of the monotony of everything else, so I'm going to offer you some help.
Really?
Your story was certainly the most exciting that I've heard, and your cause is the most noble. And you're willing to listen to someone tell you something that you don't want to hear, and to admit that it's true. You'll still have to collect the wool yourself, but I'll tell you how to do it more quickly, and without getting yourself killed on the rocks by my riverbank.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now, listen to me carefully and look around.
And that's when I saw it. All along the river's banks, stuck between the reeds and brambles, were tufts of golden wool, so small and light you could barely see the light glinting off of them. I collected what I could, and he suggested a plan. Next time the sheep came by, I would chase it towards the river's edge, and the river god would make his waters more calm and serene than they had ever been before. Then, when the sheep got close enough, their waters would rage and wash over him, and he would collect what wool he could before the sheep could get away, and I would pick it up and take it out. And we did it, and my arms were full of soft, wet wool. I turned around, and there he was, Hermes again.
And so we said our goodbyes, and she went off on her way. Part 3. She demanded a vial of water from the river Styx that flows through the underworld, a place where no living mortal should go and whose waters no living mortal should touch.
Hermes left me on a cliffside and told me I'd have to make my way down the rock face alone. And I did. Crystal vial tucked into the folds of my dress. At the bottom, I found myself alone again. I could see the water raging before me, but I couldn't get close enough to collect more than a few drops of spray. But then I wasn't alone.
Psyche.
Zeus!
You have performed your tasks well thus far, and I think that your punishment has been more than enough now. It is my turn to help you. One of my eagles, feathered in gold, will fly to you now and fill the vial. And then my son, Hermes, will come to you and take you on.
And the eagle came, and the vial was filled with black and crystal water.
But this last task, the one before you now, is yours and yours alone. You have no help from a god of Olympus or from the mortal world. This one you do all yourself.
I understand. Thank you.
I'm glad to do it. Now go.
Hermes came back and led me on further through the underworld until we were in front of a field of asphodel trees with an enormous pomegranate tree in the center.
Part 4. She commanded Psyche to journey through the underworld and bring back up with her to the mortal world a piece of Persephone's beauty.
You're in this one?
Yes. The winter had set itself coldly on the world. Hades had gone up to Olympus, summoned some great meeting at which the goddess of spring had no place. I was left alone with my trees and the spirits of the dead. Psyche was alone now, too. Hermes had left her again, and left her with the instructions that she speak to no one she met in the underworld but Persephone if she wished to ever return. He told her that he would meet her at the line where the mortal world and the world of the dead met. And so she walked.
She walked.
And she walked.
And she walked.
And she came up to the pomegranate tree in the center of the field, the place where something inside her told her she had to go. And the woman there, the one who was tending to it, turned around.
Hello. You don't look dead. Oh, where are my manners? I've spent far too much time alone down here. My name is Persephone. I assume you've come here looking for something.
Oh, thank goodness I came here looking for you.
fell into the traps of curiosity. And yet here she is, trapping you the same way men once trapped her. Remember this, please, and break the cycle. Here's what she asked for. It is just one piece of it, but it is all that she will get from this. And this is for you. It is my gift to you. No one can take it from you. Wear it always, and keep a piece of the living with you. You will not be snared by the halls of the dead this way. Good luck. Thank you. And so she went on her way, and she could feel the weight of the flowers and the life of spring on her head, and she could feel the direction to go before her eyes could see it or her feet could walk it.
She could hear the song of Zeus's eagle through the darkness as she passed by the river Styx. Black and crystal water shining even in the absence of any light.
She knew of rivers now. She knew that when they flowed through caves and passed over sharp and jagged rocks, that it was only ever for a time, and never an eternal one. The rivers kept on moving, and the water kept on flowing, and she was just a leaf on the surface of it, moving ever forward, passing over sharp and jagged stones, buffeted over rough patches, but nevertheless a leaf in the doing of it. And now, the rivers were moving away from those places, and she was no longer just a leaf on the surface of it. She was the river, and her life the river bed, and it stretched out beyond where she could see.
She thought of Eros, too, a river that had run together with her own for a beautiful, perfect, rockless time. But then the rivers had diverged, and they had been diverged for a long time. It felt like ages since she had last seen him, and she didn't know how many times the sun had rose and fell, Apollo's chariot racing across the sky again and again and again as she did what she had to do. And she wasn't finished yet, but every step brought her closer. She thought she could hear his laugh. And then she could hear his laugh. She could hear the rushing of the river, of his river. And the sunlight was on her bare foot now. And then it was on her leg, and on her dress. And then it was on her shoulders. And then he was there.
The underworld was behind her, and Olympus was behind him. And he was in her arms, and she was in his arms, and they were together. Again.
And it was perfect. It was like we had never been apart. Now was everything, and everything was now. And we had each other. And now we have each other.
I brought the flower from her to Aphrodite, and then Olympus came down on the two of them on their knees, saying nothing and everything and holding on to each other. Eros had offered to give up his immortality for her, but the decision was not for this. It was decided that she would be made immortal alongside him, and they would live on together. For eternity, love and the soul together for eternity.
Things go wrong. This has been true for all of us, but they do not always stay wrong. When one thing goes right for one of us, they're worth it for all of us.
No matter how much the wrongness hurts or how wrong it feels for the longest time.
Because even when we are alone, when the whole world falls apart, we are together when the pieces are put back together.
And the broken pieces begin to pave the road for worlds to be put back together.
How would a trolling queen of Sparta, who longed to see the world beyond her shores?
Cassandra, Sierra, who wanted to know what it was like to feel power beyond she knew.
Nausicaa, who waited by the water for her life to change.
And we line the road, curious women who have walked before, and we light the way where we can, and we smooth the road where it becomes too rough. And then, maybe someday, the young and the curious will walk this road with nothing broken and unfixable.
But until then,
we tell our stories, and we hope that you will hear them, and that you will listen, and that you will understand. And we sit here, together, supporting one another, and we wait. We wait for something. We wait for something to change.
Orpheus?
Orpheus!
What is that, Pandora? That feeling that's come over me all of a sudden. Can you feel it too?
Elpis, hope.
curious,